Hi there. Today we're talking with Ken Harris from Western Mass. Ken got an amazing CV being an actor, a playwright, a puppeteer, and an official AARP Digital Fraud Fighter, which is going to come into play when we get deeper into his story. He's the creator and sole performer of the award-winning one-man show, Foes of a Minimum Wage Guard, that just played off-Broadway at Theatre Row as part of the United Solo Festival, where it was twice selected. Ken is believed to be the first playwright in the world to write a solo play about retail loss prevention, and the first puppeteer to ever have dedicated fraud prevention segment on broadcast TV. And for other aspiring actors like myself, he was blessed by having an amazing mentor studying under Chazz Palminteri. So Ken, welcome to the show. We're delighted to have you.
Thank you for having me, Jeffrey.
You're very welcome. I have to say, part of this podcast is for people who are on the cusp, people whose experiences all seem to be aligning from maybe different perspectives of their life and to creating something terrific. And that you really seem to embody that. So we have to hear about your one-man show where you play 10 characters. Do I have that number correct?
10 characters, that's correct.
That's insane.
Yes.
So I was
Yes.
able to see part of it on YouTube. I was very impressed where you jump between two characters with very different demeanors. Can you tell me how you do that?
It's based on as a writer, I'm really observant of people who I work with, family members, friends, and I'm very observant of people who are actually real people. And I've met some amazing people working in law enforcement, working in theater. And I just take these individuals who I just really try to mimic when I'm telling a story to family and friends. And it's a lot easier for me to just convey these various personalities, whether it's on the stage or in a screenplay, because I know them or somewhat know them.
Right.
And that's what's the greatest part about being a content creator is taking individuals or persons or certain situations, and just putting it down on paper. So I find that more fun than challenging. Well,
Okay. So I have to ask, you're playing 10 characters on a play about foes of a minimum wage guard. And there's a theme there to protect the vulnerable, and particularly the aged. And you've had experience dealing with elderly citizens and their protection against scams and frauds. Where did that passion come from?
Well, back in the mid 1990s, I saw a movie called The Bronx Tale with Chazz Palminteri. I'm from a family of moviegoers, and seeing that movie just blew me away. And then I read a Times Magazine article about the play. The roots of the play was actually a theatrical play, a one-person play. And the focus of Chazz Palminteri's play is talent is a terrible thing to be wasted. It's a sad thing to be wasted. So I thought about that, and I reflected that on a lot. I use that throughout my entire career, whether I'm writing or performing. The saddest thing in life is wasted talent. And I just apply that to everything I'm doing, whether it's on the stage, whether it's writing. Little would I know that many years later, the guy who actually inspired me to be an actor, writer, I would run into him in Springfield, Mass, and he would end up mentoring me. That was just a big surprise.
Every actor's dream to have somebody they look up to take some time and say, let's do this together. What was the catalyst, though, that said, I'm going to sit down and write a 10-character one-man show? Was there a moment that something clicked in your brain and said, I got to do this?
Absolutely. Well, I'm from a small city in Western Massachusetts called Springfield. And over the years, we had a lot of malls dwindling, closing. Malls are shutting down. And I worked in several of them. And one of the malls that I worked in, the Eastfield Mall, there was 2022, an announcement came that they were going to close down the mall and shut it down. At that moment, when I heard about that, the mall was my livelihood. I grew up one of my earliest memories was going to the mall with my parents. And then a light bulb hit me, an idea of why not write a story that pays a tribute to many of the malls that close? And of course, I had a lot of experience with interacting with mall walkers throughout these malls. Mall walkers are those elderly citizens who walk through the mall and you run into them. They have stories about what it was like working in department stores or working in the mall during their youth. And they had a lot of these funny outrageous stories about shoplifting and retail crime. And I actually just heard these stories and I would share them with friends and families, and they're just outrageous stories.
Mm,
And when I heard about the close of the mall, I had a hunch that if I took all these stories and put them together as a one person show, just as Chazz did with the Bronx Tale, I might have something here. And I realized that looking at a lot of the shows on Broadway and off Broadway, a lot of the stories do not highlight the exploits of a senior citizen,
mm,
and what they're going through in today's world where many of them are still working to pay bills. So I
mm,
thought about this story of self discovery about a senior. He's a widowed senior with health issues, and he's called into work on his day off, and he's reassigned as a loss prevention detective, and he goes through a day of retail chaos that he could not imagine. And of course, there's a climax at the end of the story that enables him to just re-examine himself, his values, what his priorities are, and he goes through a transformation based on this experience because not all retail guards are involved with loss prevention. They work for loss prevention, but he's actually reassigned as a loss prevention officer due to a staff shortage. And he's told if he doesn't curtail thefts, he's going to face termination. A lot of the obstacles and the plot points to the story are derived from actual incidents that actually happened. I just took all these incidents from these stories seniors shared with me throughout a 20-year period, and I just mushed them together, and I came up with this character called Steve Smelly. So it was an interesting process, and it feels real. And I think that anyone who sees the show will just sit back and say, hey, I can relate to that, or I'm
mhm.
part of that. So it was all about fun when writing it and performing it in front of other people.
Did you know at any time after when you were writing it and it's all coming together and these multiple characters and the plot lines that it would be such a great success that it was and it'll be an award-winning performance?
Absolutely not. After they closed the mall, I sat down with a notebook and just out of a frenzy, I wrote this it was actually 2 hour play. I took me a week to write a 2 hour play in this notebook. The ideas were already there in my head, just collecting dust. And then I met Chazz Palminteri, who was doing a show in Springfield, and I talked to him and I connected with him. I told him about the idea. He said that he could willing to mentor me. So
Mhm.
I sought him out and we talked a bit about the show after I wrote it. And he told me that this is something that's never been done before. There's never been a show about an elderly senior who's the protagonist, and also the topic of retail crime and loss prevention. It's never been done in the history of the world before. I didn't set out to do that. He said the show has potential, but could I do that for an hour or so on a stage? So, of course, after writing the script, it took me months of rewrites and based on his suggestions. And I realized that when I was receiving all these awards and being asked to come out and perform at various venues, I slowly started to realize that I had something that was interesting. And it's a unique experience. And I had doubts about it before, but now I'm feeling that this is something that is just way beyond anticipation. So I'm just happy to be sharing it with the world.
As well, the seniors unfortunately are indeed taken advantage of. So for you to be able to touch on something that surely almost everybody has had some exposure to someone in their life,
Mm,
unfortunately being a victim, and then bringing to that the passion for acting, it's a
mm,
great mix. It's a great combination of your writing skills, your acting skills, your
mm.
sensitivity to the people around you. So congratulations. It was so impressive when I read that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Kudos to you. Well done. So now you've done stage, you've done video, you've done puppetry, you've done writing. What's your next project? Where do you think you want to go?
Well, I've last year I've written a screenplay called "Mind Made for Murder," and it was an independent film that was two production companies jumped at it. So they instead of them fighting over it, I said, "Hey, how about you guys team up together and make the film?" Which they did, to my surprise. So I truly enjoyed the process of being a screenwriter as well. So I'm actually working on other projects. I'm working on the Sinister Ward. This dives into the corruption when it comes to medical billing. We have a protagonist. She has trauma based on an accident where her father was killed, and many years later, she's still going through the trauma, but she's visited her boyfriend. She's been into a hospital that has a practice of keeping patients against their will while billing their insurances. That's also a story that I would like to put out there as well. And I don't think that's been a story that's been done before as well. I
Mhm.
have a friend, couple of friends, two friends who were actually held in the hospital against their will, and their insurance were just billed, and they were just treated horribly. So I think this is also an opportunity to show a different type of story that has a topic uh, that some people can probably relate to.
Right.
I'm also looking at doing more of the puppetry stuff with cybersecurity and fraud prevention. I've been on a hiatus for that for a couple of years, but with the being alerted to cybersecurity and fraud prevention for everybody, I think that this will be a best way to, as a digital fraud fighter for AARP, to continue doing my puppetry
Mhm.
videos here and there on social media to help people safe, especially seniors.
It's amazing how all the common thread of protecting the most vulnerable is always through coming through your work. So it's clear like that
Mm,
that's a cause near and dear to your heart.
absolutely, yes.
So tell me this: your movies now that where you combine the production houses, have they been filmed? Are they in post production or are they in startup mode? Where are they?
Well, so far, My Made for Murder, which was a recipient of a couple of Cultural Council awards in Massachusetts, it's
Oh,
uploaded. It's available on YouTube. It's our treat.
okay.
So anyone who's willing to looking to watch the film, it's readily available on YouTube. They can just type in Springfield Mass Studios has a YouTube page. So you just type in a My Made for Murder. It's a very unusual topic. And of course, the movie's there. There's interviews with the actors that were involved in that production process. An entire film is available for those who would like to see it. Also, my film, That Gone Darn Scam, which won the Audience Choice Award at an Orlando Film Festival, that's available on my YouTube page, Scriptropolis, as well. And of course, The Grandparent Scam is something that really touches me. Before COVID, I started writing it based on a senior citizen who was in my hometown, where he was contacted and told that his grandson was in jail and he had to pay lawyer fees in order for him to go to court and get the representation that he sought. But the senior was taken advantage by a scammer. He was going to a grocery store and buying gift cards and calling the scammer back and providing the numbers to the scammer. And this
Mm,
happened repeatedly several times throughout the day. And an alert grocery store clerk notified the police when he came back for like a sixth time, and they investigated. And of course, unfortunately, it was found out that he was a victim to a scam. So that story touched me. So that was inspiration behind the movie, the short film, That Gone Darn Scam.
mhm.
And I welcome anyone to watch it. It's a learning lesson, especially for our seniors, that we all know seniors, and this is information that we can utilize and help keep them safe.
Okay. So I have to ask the question because you're so passionate when you speak about the films you've written. Do you have a preference? Like, would you prefer to sit at a computer and write these stories so that the word can get out to the public, or did passion lie in the acting and the performing?
I like them. I'm for like a hybrid performer
Hmm.
artist, whether it's on the stage or whether it's writing. I do it all. I certainly like writing as well. Um, Writing is so much fun because I'm a reader and I like to learn about things. So I get just as much excitement out of being a screenwriter as performing on the stage as well.
Hmm.
I've been acting for over 29 years, and it's something that's really never left me. And I would just say that it's great, and especially stage. Stage is something that it's just a wonderful experience with a lot of the content out there on streaming and AI. Stage is definitely a respite. It's a great way to get out and actually see an actual live performance. And you know you're looking at something authentic.
So you're getting a lot of attention for all of your amazing work in the last, what, 5, 10 years. So is that
Yeah.
motivating you to just to do more and more? And you've got your locomotion is on its way here.
Absolutely. Western Massachusetts, there's a time where you thought that independent filmmaking and stage work and off Broadway, all that was in New York. But I really believe that that's slowly changing. We're seeing movies being made everywhere. We've seen a lot of independent films be successful. Look at 28 Days Later, 2004, that was an independent film, but look at it now. I think they
Mhm.
came out with a third film last year that was equally successful. So, and then the Blair Witch Project, again, that was in 1990. So we're seeing a lot, more and more throughout the years, independent films just, they're growing. They're just as marketable as a feature length film by a big studio. I
Right.
really think that telling a great story is important, doing something unusual. I think the audience, they're craving for something that's different, something that's unusual,
Mhm.
something that will knock them out of their seats, something that's unexpected. So
Mhm.
I truly enjoy diving into that rim,
Mhm.
and I feel that I have a lot of ideals, and I feel that that's what's great about filmmaking, taking these great stories and making them, going out there with a big risk and just trying to satisfy people.
Right. And to summarize also, your stories are real. They have a foundation in life, and it's very touching. It's very moving. And if you
Yeah.
know, if some of the moviegoers who see your films or your productions or plays, like take something away from it that can protect someone else in the public that they love, you've done
Mm.
like a double service. You provided entertainment and you provided education at the same time. So
Yeah,
I think,
yeah, I'm fortunate in my 35 plus years of working in the workforce. I worked as a reserve police officer in Springfield, Mass. I moved to Atlanta, and I worked as a correction officer
oh
for a
wow,
number of years in Atlanta area. And then, of course, and then working in retail and working in various malls. So I was able to see the positives and the negatives. And I was able to look at these different characters. And again, some writers research diligently, just get to know the character and how to write the story. For me, I truly enjoy just diving into my past and pulling out characters that I've met or stories that I heard. And there's so many of them. I don't think I can ever get to them in this lifetime, but it's fun. And the thing about making a film and making an investment in these independent films, it's a risk involved, but it's fun. It's fun to get a story out there, whether it's successful or not.
mhm,
And the sky's the limit, especially
right.
with the world of independent film.
I completely agree with you because as you know, I'm sort of blending a new career of filmmaking or in terms of being an actor, and it's fun. You know, there's no other way to describe it. So I have to wrap this up. So I want to just so our viewers can know what should be on the lookout, what's on the horizon, what should we keep our ears open to see what's the next thing coming from Ken.
Absolutely. Check out my website, scriptropolis.com.
Okay.
I'm looking to for 2026 get the play Foes of Minimum Wage Guard throughout Western Massachusetts, especially Worcester and Boston. Get that show out there. Also, keep a lookout for my screenplays and short films that I'll be working with regards to puppetry and cybersecurity and fraud prevention, and also support independent films.
All right.
We're out there, and we're going to be growing.
Ken, you are an inspiration. I'm so happy you took some time to speak with us, and I wish you
Thank
all the
you.
best continued success in raking up those awards and recognition.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Take care.
You too.